Hello everyone, welcome back with JMT Ohio Sales. Today we have a 1995 Suzuki Carry DD51T. We've got it in for service with a crank no start issue. We've got the battery on a low charge because they've been winding over on it trying to get it to start and it just will not fire. So if you're just joining in and you've never seen our channel before, give us a subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when we upload videos and you can see more of these little mini trucks. We're always uploading videos, normally every day. And if you're returning and you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and that bell. Give us a thumbs up. Tell us what you think about the video. How do you like these trucks? And what more would you like to see? So first things first with this 95 Suzuki, we are going to get in here. First things first is wash this engine bay. So he has noticed it's been using oil. It's been running bad for the last 6 months or so, and it finally got to a point to where it will not start. And some things are concerning right off the bat to me because when you hit the key and hear it wind over, it's spinning over kind of fast. So I'm kind of wondering if there's not a compression issue. So after we wash it, we're going to get it back in here and pull the plugs one by one and see what kind of compression we're working with before we dive into looking at carburetor issues and stuff of that nature. We are getting spark, so we're getting spark, and I believe we're getting fuel. But this was added from another guy on this air intake. Another guy had worked on it. He said he got it running a little better, and he put a big filter on it here, like a little aftermarket. It's kind of a weird looking filter. You don't see a whole lot of them. I haven't anyway. This is it. As you can see, it's just packed with dirt. Even on the inside, I don't know if you can see in there very well. It's also dirty on the inside. So my thoughts were it's been ingesting dirt. So we're going to give that a look-see and see what we're looking at there. We do have the factory air box to go back on it. If you are off-road in a dirty environment, do not put an aftermarket high flow filter on it. Keep the original air box and an original filter, and you'll get more filtration. Your carburetors will stay happier and cleaner, and you won't ingest dirt into the cylinders. So I think that's what's going on. I don't know yet, but we're going to get it cleaned. We're going to start doing a compression check and see where we're at on compression. So stick around and you can watch us clean it, and we'll get it back in here and do a video footage of doing a compression test. Stick around. Appreciate you guys watching. All right, welcome back, guys. Now that we got this engine cleaned, we don't have dirt everywhere that we're working through. We're pulling each plug out one by one. We're going to do a compression check on it. Hopefully we have north of 100 on each. I'd like to see 120, 130 at least.
Yeah.
And if the compression is low, we're going to work towards popping the valve cover pan off and seeing what the see what the valves are sitting at on the adjustments. That's a very important thing. If you're losing a little bit of power, check your valve adjustment first. Get a little more compression, make those valves work the way they're supposed to. All right, truck's in neutral, and we're just going to wind it over. Oh, that's not good. 30 pounds on cylinder one.
Yep.
That's extremely, extremely low. Like I said earlier, he does have spark. I'm pretty sure he's getting fuel. I don't know how good a fuel he's getting with a dirty carburetor. Probably not too good. I think you guys can see it. We're right at 60 pounds. This engine takes 65 pounds to even fire a cylinder. So cylinder 2 is a lot better than cylinder 1, yet double the compression. But still not enough. Not put any aftermarket air filters on them. Keep the factory air box, factory filter, keep it clean, and it'll keep that carburetor happy, keep the truck running good. While he's twisting that back in, I'll show you guys something that's nice about this truck. It has diff lock and axle lock. You don't see that a whole lot. They are more common on these Suzukis. 4-speed with a high-low transfer case. And keep in mind, if you want a Suzuki with a high-low transfer case, you have to settle with a 4-speed and the DD51Ts.
Yeah, smaller cabs.
Yeah, and they have smaller cabs too. All right. Well, cylinder 3 is at 50, 58. So cylinder 2 and cylinder 3 is even at 58 pounds, 58 to 60 pounds there. Let's pop the valve cover off and See what the valves are looking like. And we're going to pop the cover off to the timing belt to make sure it hasn't jumped. It's in good shape and it's tight, and we won't worry about the timing being off. All right, stick around. We'll be right back with you. All right, here we're back. We have checked all the timing marks. The belt was loose, but it did not jump any time. Everything is in line. It's in order. Belt's nice and tight now. It did have a little slop in it, but luckily we caught that before it jumped time. So now what we're going to do is check the lash in our valves. So we're going to be checking these little guys right here. That is something that needs to be kept up on. If you feel like you're running a little low compression, a little low on power, always check your valve adjustments.
And on these older ones.
Yeah, the older ones, even the newer ones too.
Yeah.
Water pump looks good. This truck doesn't have a whole lot of miles on it. 29, 826. This guy has 200 acres on a chicken farm here in the great state of Ohio. And it doesn't get driven very far distances.
It gets worked hard.
But it gets worked. It does get worked hard. Works hard and plays hard. All right, guys, so stick with us. We're going to get this valve adjustment done, and hopefully we can get this compression up. All right, guys, so give you a little update on the 95 Suzuki DD51T. We've got the truck running. It runs well, other than the carburetor has a little bit of flooding, and it has a little bit of hesitation with the accelerator pump, and after it runs for a while, it'll start flooding itself out. So, little update, we've got everything back together. It does run. Here's a little clip of it running. All right, go ahead, hit the key. And what we're going to do, we've already started working on it now. We've got the carburetor off, and it's in the process of being cleaned. We've done the first tear down all your parts and pieces, and it looks pretty clean. I'm going to do one more cycle with the ultrasonic cleaner. We cycled it a couple times. You can just see all that nastiness in there. All this came off the carburetor, off and out of the carburetor. So there's a little bit. Anyway, I'm going to cycle it one more time because we'll see here, the bottom bowl, it still has a little crud inside there. So I'm going to cycle it one more time with some fresh water, get it clean. Parts will be in this afternoon. I have to put the carburetor back together, and I've got a few other things coming forward as well. I've got cap, rotor button, new plug wires coming. The customer already has brand new plugs in the truck. So that'll be that. After the carburetor's back on, this truck will be running as it should be with, I believe, 28,000 kilometers on it. So this is a very low mileage truck. It just works hard. It's in the dirt all the time. Carburetor's plugged up. Somehow the valve adjustment got thrown way off. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how we accomplished that. But I did a valve adjustment, set them at 6 thousandths on the intake and 8 thousandths on the exhaust. And cylinder 1, instead of 48 to 50 pounds, or maybe it was 30 pounds. It's been a few days, I can't remember, but it was extremely low to start out with. So we've got cylinder 1 back up to 158, 160 pounds. Cylinder 2, cylinder 3, they're up to 175 pounds. So the compression is absolutely excellent in this engine. I was very worried about having to do an engine job on this truck. But turns out it was just a valve adjustment that was not allowing the valves to work correctly and not allowing it to build its proper compression. So what else I'm going to be working on today is, first things first, I want to take this old style lift off the front. As you can see, it's just a straight up and down puck spacer. Issue with that is you can see how the camber is just way out. So I've got the new style with camber adjustment. So this plate's going to be mounted to the body where the strut would normally mount, and this is going to be mounted to our strut top, and it's going to allow the strut to be moved left and right in order to get our camber back. You can just see how far out it is, and he's off-road all the time, but you can still see how it's wearing the outer lugs on these tires in comparison to how flat these are wearing. The biggest reason we're doing this, not only do you get our camber back correct, it's going to lower the front end probably 1/4 of an inch, so it doesn't look like it's going up road or uphill all the time, with a backwards rake. But we're putting a set of foursomes on this truck. He's getting rid of the 23x10s, and we're going to put some 8-ply foursomes on it. Keep these tires from sticking way out and slinging and climbing over them. The foursomes, I think, are just going to be a very, very much easier tire to work with, and it's going to handle the weight better too, because he hauls wood. He's a chicken farmer, so he hauls an eclectic amount of things in this truck. So yeah, we're gonna get this thing up and going for him. I've already serviced, I've done the engine oil, I've done transmission, rear differential, front differential, all fresh oil in this truck. Tested his coolant tests out good. Done a few things here and there, but our main goal today is get this lift, wheels and tires, and another thing we've got going on that I have to go ahead and remove and start on. Let's see if we can see it down here. Nope, sure can't. Anyway, we have, if you watch here, we've got about that much play in the steering. So there's kind of like a pitman arm up under here. It's actually right there. It's behind this shield. There's a rubber bushing in there. So, like I said, it's like a pitman arm. There's a gearbox underneath the front bumper here, and then a shaft that runs back to it. As you turn your wheels, it turns that pitman arm left and right, and your tie rods are connected to it. And he said after a certain speed, he would get a terrible, terrible death wobble. So that'd be the culprit of it. Bushings were way out. I'm going to get that pivot arm off of it and press out the old bushings and press in some new ones. So stick around, I'll give you some more updates. Hey guys, welcome back in. This is the last segment on this 1995 Suzuki Carry DD51T. We've got a small laundry list of parts and work that we did to this truck. It turned out to be an excellent running, good driving unit. So first thing we did, as you noticed in the earlier this video, we did an engine wash, and then we did a compression check. Compression was extremely low. We got the timing belt cover off, made sure all the timing was in line, and got the valve cover off, checked the valves on it, and the valves were extremely tight. There was no lash in the valve adjustment. So I reset the valves. I did intake valve at 6 thousandths, and I did the exhaust valve at 8 thousandths. We also did a full tune-up on it. This customer already had brand new plugs in the truck, so I didn't charge it for new plugs again. All I did was I did a rotor button, distributor cap, and plug wires. And as you noticed in earlier in the video, it had an aftermarket air intake on it, and it was just ingesting a lot of dirt into the carburetor. Luckily, it wasn't enough to hurt the rings. So I was worried about that when we first did a compression check. And the next challenge we had with the truck was the carburetor. We ended up putting a brand new carburetor on the truck, brand spanking new, OEM style aftermarket carburetor. The issue with the first carburetor, the original, not only was the springs wore out on the throttle and everything, but the biggest issue was the butterfly for the choke. It had a bad spot in it to where when it would work, open and close, as you gave the truck throttle, it would catch and it would flood the truck out. Well, the truck would start flooding, you reach in there and bump the flapper, and it would pick right back up and clear out. So we worked with that for a while. This is after doing a full tear down, a deep clean on it, on new seals and gaskets and diaphragms, and just a full carburetor rebuild, honestly. And this is unfortunate that we did all that work to the original and then had issues out of it, out of the choke flapper. So I'm going to keep that carburetor, and I have another parts carburetor that we're going to try to get that flapper working. I don't know if there's pits in there or a gouge, what the issue is. We've changed springs out. We've changed the whole throttle side of that carburetor out. Still had the same issue. Dad is very, very good at rebuilding these carburetors, putting them together, and it kind of stumped both of us. So I said, screw it. I'm going to go ahead and just throw a brand new carburetor on it, and we won't have any issue out of that. So that's what we did, and placed a bunch of vacuum hoses, replaced pretty much all the gas hoses on it, a new fuel filter in the back, new gas hoses in the back, up here in front, new gas hoses, every vacuum line pretty much on it. And we just went through and did a full tune-up on it. I don't think you could have done any more with the tune-up from what we did. So now it runs great. I can just sit here and just hit the key, and she fires off. Idles up the way it's supposed to on choke. Once it starts warming up, getting coolant flowing through that carburetor, the choke starts idling down. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. So other than that, far as mechanically, with the engine and everything, it's great. We've done oil service on everything, engine, transmission, both differentials, but brand new extended shocks in the rear. His shocks were very weak. Had a lot of bounce in the rear. Now these new extended shocks are very stiff, kind of stiffened everything up in the rear, and it's going to make it ride a lot better as well. Another thing we did that I also talked about was replacing the front lift on it. The original lift was kind of a homemade lift, and it dropped the strut straight down. When you do that, you throw your camber way out. So when he came, dropped his truck off to me, he seen one of my other trucks that had these foursome tires on them. And he said, man, I love those tires. I'd like to have those on mine. I said, well, I can make it happen. I've got some older wheels. They're not pretty, and we can wrap them in those tires, because he didn't want to put a nice fancy wheel on it, be off-road all the time, and screw those wheels up. And I gave him a good deal on these wheels, wheel and tire package. So we did that, got his camber right. He had a lot of slop in his steering, and there is a pitman arm under there. It controls your tie rods left and right. There's a bushing in there that was just pretty much gone. So we pressed that old bushing out, pressed a new one in, painted the pitman arm. I greased all the tie rods while I was under there. Just, I treated it like it was my truck that I was working on. So, yeah, I'd like to get this truck back out to him. He's gonna come get it here in the next day or two, and he's going to be completely blown away. So these tires are going to handle more weight. They're not going to sling mud and dirt everywhere. You don't have to worry about stepping over the tire and the fender well getting in and out of the truck. They're just going to be all around a lot better setup for him. Yeah, I'll bring the camera over here and I'll show you the brand new shiny carburetor on it. And we put the factory air box back on it, got rid of all that aftermarket stuff that was there. And OEM style fuel filter. His coolant tested out good. We cleaned up some extra wiring that he had from his light bar, made that look all nice and neat. And yeah, we're going to get him back and going. He can use this thing on his chicken farm, get this thing back out on his 200 acres and work for him the way it needs to. And this isn't a truck that I provided. I didn't sell this truck. And I still brought it in and got it fixed for him because we have a passion for him. We've been around him for a long time. A lot of people don't know how to work on them or how to go about them. Of course, there's parts out there available, but some people are not mechanically inclined enough, or you just don't have time to mess with it. This guy, he just doesn't have time to mess with it. He's got a big chicken farm to tend to. He could have got the parts and done it himself, but he just didn't have time. So he brought it to us. We got it set up for him at a very reasonable price. And now it runs like a new one. So go in here and check this out. And I'll wrap this video up. As you can see, that brand new shiny carburetor right here. All brand new spray. Everything's brand new about that carburetor. Factory air box. You can see all the wires that we cleaned up for him for his light bar. It's an older truck, but it's a nice truck. It's a great little workhorse. So I appreciate you guys sticking with us, watching this video through. This truck's came a long way since they got parked here a little over a week ago. And it's going to drive and handle and feel like a whole different truck when he gets in it. So if you're returning to this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell. We're always uploading videos, whether they're long form, short form, doing walk arounds, going live even. So make sure to check us out. If you're new to this channel, you like mini trucks, you want to learn some stuff about them, hit that subscribe button, follow us. We're always putting content out there, so you guys can keep up to date with what we're doing, and also maybe learn a few things that you didn't know before. So you guys stay blessed out there, and if you have a mini truck, you need service, you don't have time to service, you don't know how to service it, get a hold of me. We can work it in and get it back up and going for you. You can put it back to work or drive it around for leisure, whatever you're doing with it. So yeah, appreciate you guys, and catch us on the next one. We'll see you guys later.